Okay, good evening. My name is John McDonald. I'm the chairman of the 2017 Wolfeboro Budget Committee. And tonight we're going to have the proposed Wolfeboro Town budget for the year 2017 and also talk about some of the warrant articles. I just want to introduce some of the folks up here at the table. Rob Tuffer is my vice chair, and we've got John Burt, Bob O'Brien, Robert Loftman, Bob Mulholland, Brian Black, and Luke Freudenberg is selectman's rep, and our town manager Dave Owen, and Pete Chamberlain, finance director, and Leanne Hendricks, the committee's secretary. If you have any questions or concerns about anything we talk about, please just raise your hand and we'll have you come up and you can talk to us and tell us any changes or suggestions you may have concerning the 2017 budget. Behind me, hopefully Peter will run the projector and we'll get right into Article 11, which is the proposed Town of Wolfeboro operating budget. This particular article states, shall the town raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by the vote of the first session, for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $26,027,221. Should this article be defeated, the operating budget shall be $25,497,435, which is the same as last year's operating budget, where certain adjustments required by the previous action of the town or by law or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13X and 16 to take up the issue of revised operating budget only. Estimated tax rate impact for 2017 is $4.93 per thousand of assessed valuation. And it's recommended by the Board of Selectmen on a vote to 5-0. Prior to the budget process, the Selectmen and the Town Manager set certain guidelines for the 2017 budget. Discretionary budget totals limited to a targeted zero increase over the approved 2016 operating budget. Exceptions for contractual obligations, legal requirements, or the cost of collective bargaining agreements. Discretionary items include the cost of fuel, oil, diesel fuel, and gasoline. 27 increases in salaries and benefits across all funds. The cost of salaries increased 2.03%, or $120,039. Benefits as a whole increased 5.44%, or $167,682 for the year. Of this total, included the cost of health care insurance coverage, which increased by 6.89%, or $113,623 for the year. Cost of dental insurance coverage decreased by 0.49%, or $409. Cost of the New Hampshire retirement increased 7.51, or $60,502. Cost for workers' compensation decreased by 6.14%, or approximately $7,277. The first area we'll discuss is the general government, in particular the executive. Clerical salaries increased $1,079. Insurance increased $4,152, and there was a $2,000 decrease in printing. Town manager payroll decrease of $5,173, and benefits a decrease of $7,536. General government continued. Zoning board, we have an increase in legal of $2,628. Planning board, outside services, an increase of $10,000. Now we'll go into the town clerk. Salaries, we have an increase of $2,542. Benefits was an increase of $2,325. Elections, a decrease of $2,900. Outside services, an increase of $2,500. Postage, a decrease of $1,000. Now we'll move into the finance department. Salaries, there was an increase of $2,670. Benefits, $4,342, and the telephone, a decrease of $420. Next section is assessing. Increase of benefits of $1,398. Assessor hours was a decrease of $1,546. Abatement processing was a decrease of $9,892. Clerical data collection was an increase of $888. Dues and subscriptions, an increase of $988. Tax collector, we have an increase in printing of $1,100. Planning Board, there was a decrease in salaries of $10,694 and a decrease in benefits of $19,256. Next section is the Brewster Building. We have an increase of salaries of $7,136, increase of benefits of $542, decrease in heat and oil of $2,467, increase in the machinery of $1,898. Building maintenance, we have an increase of $10,511. Maintenance supply, an increase of $2,600. Next one is cemeteries. We have an increase in the part-time wages of $1,253. Technology, increase in the salaries of $9,500. Benefits, $777. Website maintenance, a decrease of $2,580. Computer maintenance, a decrease of $39,203. Rentals and leases, an increase of $10,500. Does anyone have any questions on the town government section of the budget? Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I have a question about the union negotiations. If they're all finished?
They are.
And are the non-union going to get the same as the union as far
The
as
non-union
increase?
people will get what the selectmen voted to give them.
That
and
1.5%?
1.5%, correct.
And there's no other benefit changes or anything?
No other benefit changes currently.
Okay. I was under the impression that the non-union was going to be getting the same as union at some point or be treated the same, but it's a question.
Any other questions? Okay, let's go into the public safety budgets. The first one will be police. We have an increase in salaries of $3,429, a benefit increase of $34,950, telephone increase of $6,216, a decrease in maintenance, vehicle maintenance of $1,000, operating supplies an increase of $2,562, decrease in gas and oil of $1,771, decrease in machinery and equipment of $13,835. Now we're going to the fire department. We have an increase in salaries of $39,577, increase in the benefit line of $50,508, increase in medical services of $2,639, a decrease in the hydrant fee of $45,000, increase in the vehicle maintenance of $3,000, an increase in the communications maintenance of a decrease in the communications maintenance of $1,000, an increase in the insurance of $1,138, an increase in the maintenance supplies of $1,000, a decrease in diesel fuel of $2,790. The next section of public safety is code enforcement. We have an increase in the salaries of $424, increase in the benefits of $2,907. Emergency management, we have an increase of $29. The public safety building, electricity is increased by $1,861. Machinery maintenance, an increase of $1,050. Next section is the communications budget. Increase in salaries of $3,235, an increase in the benefits of $5,675, and other purchase services, an increase of $1,139. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about the public safety budget? Okay, very good. We'll move on to the highways and streets budget. First one is DPW administration. We have a decrease in salaries of $17,371 and also a decrease of $5,426 in benefits. Highways and street salaries, an increase of $4,802, an increase in benefits of $25,467. Rentals and leases, a decrease of $8,800. Maintenance supplies, an increase of $7,671. Gasoline and oil, a decrease of $704, and a decrease in the diesel fuel of $22,320. The Public Works Garage, Salaries is an increase of $718. Benefits, an increase of $2,226. Maintenance of vehicles is a decrease of $5,000. Gasoline is a decrease of $7,040. Diesel fuel is a decrease of $33,480. And propane is also a decrease of $400. Public Works, Buildings and Grounds, increase in salaries of $30,010. Increase in benefits of $22,294. Machinery and equipment, there's an increase of $1,600. Does anyone have any concerns or any questions or comments about the Highways and Streets budget? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to sanitation, in particular the solid waste disposal. Salaries are a decrease of $23,503. And benefits a decrease of $16,627. Outside services, an increase of $10,444. Building and maintenance, a decrease of $1,000. Diesel fuel, a decrease of $2,905. Machinery and equipment, an increase of $3,800. Anyone have any comments on the sanitation budget? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to health and welfare. Health officer, a decrease of $55. Animal control, an increase of $257. Agencies, an increase of $4,992. And welfare is a decrease of $4,646. Any questions on the health and welfare budget? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to culture and recreation. Park administration, an increase in salaries of $8,410. A decrease in benefits of $15,560. Park maintenance, an increase in salaries of $10,222. Increase of benefits of $14,076. Electricity is an increase of $1,324. And diesel fuel is a decrease of $1,032. Beaches, salary, an increase of $1,258. Water increase of $730. Dues and subscriptions, an increase of $400. Abenaki Ski Area, a decrease in salaries of $5,069. Decrease in benefits of $940. Outside services, an increase of $1,420. An increase in electricity of $1,365. And a decrease in building maintenance of $3,592. And now on to the hockey rink. They have a decrease in their budget of $14,152. Programs, we have an increase in the salaries of $2,033. And in the community center, we have a decrease of $236. Any questions or concerns or comments on the recreation department budget? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the library. The library has an increase in salaries of $14,038, an increase in benefits of $5,418, decrease in heat and oil of $3,988, books and periodicals, an increase of $2,000. Any questions or concerns about the library budget? Okay. Continue on to patriotic purposes, an increase of $311. Libby Museum, we have an increase in salaries of $1,566, an increase of $85 for benefits. In the Clark House, we have an increase in building maintenance of $2,000. Next one is the Conservation Commission, where we have an increase of $615 and a decrease in economic development of $72. Now we'll move into the debt service. Long-term principal, we have a decrease of $3,941. Long-term interest, a decrease of $40,075. Operating transfers out, transfer out to the sewer fund, an increase of $20,445. Capital outlay, we have a decrease of $67,522. This is a summary of the general fund increases. Overall decrease in general funding budget, $20,263, or 0.16%. Significant cost centers in the budget were the salaries and wages, which were $85,438 and 1.84%. Health insurance, $113,623. Other benefits was a decrease of $7,983. Capital expenses was a decrease of $67,522. Net decrease of all other items, $143,819, which shows a decrease of $20,263 over the 2016 budget. The next slide shows the percentage increase on the general fund budget over the past several years from 2009. Again, we see a 0.16% decrease in 2017 over the 2016 budget. Sewer Enterprise Fund, funded by fees, transfers, and another revenue. Sewer Technology, we have a $1,000 increase. Sewer Collection, salaries, a decrease of $2,224. Benefits, a decrease of $2,462. Electricity, an increase of $3,214. Maintenance supplies, a decrease of $4,000. Machinery and equipment, an increase of $8,000. Debt service principal is an increase of $740, and debt service interest is a decrease of $6,046. Sewer Enterprise Fund, funded by the fees, transfers, and another revenue. Wastewater treatment plant. Contract services, a decrease of $20,000. Electricity increase of $6,613, and debt service interest is a decrease of $14,249. Capital expenses, an increase of $40,000. Water Enterprise Fund, funded by fees under the revenue. Water Technology, we have an increase of $1,000. Water Distribution, salaries, a decrease of $17,634. Benefits, a decrease of $2,205. Machinery and equipment is an increase of $1,000. Debt service principal, a decrease of $31,345. Debt service interest, a decrease of $10,806. One Enterprise Fund, funded by fees and other revenue. Water treatment plant, salaries, we have an increase of $40,915. Benefits, an increase of $13,822. Telephone is a decrease of $1,830. Outside services is a decrease of $1,020. Debt service principal, a decrease of $1,000. Debt service interest, a decrease of $3,740. Water Enterprise Fund, funded by fees and other revenue. Capital outlay is a decrease of $10,000. Electric Enterprise Fund, funded by fees and other revenue. The electric administration, an increase in salaries of $3,094. Benefits, an increase of $3,075. Legal, we have a decrease of $11,000. Outside services, a decrease of $3,983. Administrative allocation, an increase of $9,329. Electricity, an increase of $1,400. Heat and oil, a decrease of $2,805. Vehicle maintenance, an increase of $1,000. Building maintenance, a decrease of $2,000. And programs is an increase of $3,876. Electric Enterprise Fund, funded by fees and other revenue. Purchase costs, salaries, an increase of $2,589. Benefits, an increase of $30,066. Outside services, an increase of $25,000. Gasoline and oil, a decrease of $660. Diesel fuel, a decrease of $2,976. Machinery and equipment, an increase of $1,000. Travel and meetings, an increase of $6,400. Professional development, an increase of $2,150. Debt service principal, a decrease of $5,000. Debt service interest, a decrease of $12,439. Next one is electric generation. Electricity, an increase of $351,626. Capital outlay, an increase of $89,800. Electric technology, an increase of $1,000. Next one is the Park Whalen Enterprise Fund, which is funded by fees and transfers in. Park Whalen Ice Rink, increase in salaries of $2,773. Benefit increase of $14,407. Administrative allocation, $1,855. Electricity increase, $4,671. Heat and oil decrease of $3,066. Building maintenance, an increase of $1,325. Debt service principal, an increase of $710. Debt service interest, a decrease of $1,737. Overall budget increase 2017, the general fund, we have a decrease over 2016 of $22,603 or 0.16%. Sewer enterprise fund is up $11,129. Water enterprise fund is decreased $23,340. Electric enterprise fund has increased $479,195. WHALEN enterprise fund has increased $44,647. For a subtotal of the enterprise funds increase of $511,631 or 4.10%. Total general enterprise fund increase is $491,368 or 1.292%. This gives you an example of how the budget process starts. First, the town manager requests the department heads to formulate their budget, and they came up with a total budget of $26,194,680. The town manager then looks at all the budgets, and he presented to the selectmen a budget of $26,163,456. And the Board of Selectmen presented a budget to us of $26,206,136. And we're presenting to the taxpayers of Wolfeboro a budget of $26,027,221. The estimated tax rate, the approved tax rate for 2017, $5.62. The estimated tax rate, including the warrant articles, if they all pass, is $5.89. Increase per thousand, the general fund portion is 14 cents, and the warrant article portion is also 14 cents, for a total increase of 28 cents. Major contributions to the rate increase in 2017, a decrease in the fund balance to offset the tax rate of 15 cents, and an increase in the total warrant article appropriations by 14 cents. And the last slide shows the tax effect if this budget is approved by the voters. If you have a $100,000 home, your taxes will go up approximately $28. A $200,000 home, $56, and a $300,000 home, $84. Does anyone have any questions concerning the Budget Committee's proposed 2017 operating budget? Seeing that, and Mr. Owen, you've assured us that we'll continue to have the fine services that we have during 2016, during 2017 with this budget?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Any comments from anybody? Okay. Can I get a motion concerning the budget from the Budget Committee? Okay. And a second? Second. Any further discussion? Okay, the motion is to approve or present the 2017 Budget Committee budget to the public, to the voters. We'll do a voice vote. Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
John Burt?
Yes.
Bob O'Brien?
Aye.
Robert Loftman?
Yes.
Bob Mulholland?
Yes.
Brian Black? And John McDonald votes yes also.
7-0.
Yes, sir. Okay, I guess now we'll move on to the remaining warrant articles that we have to discuss. And we're just going to deal with the articles that deal with money issues concerning the community. And the first one that I have, and Mr. Owen, if you can just correct me if I'm wrong, is the effluent disposal study, which I believe is Article 8?
It's now Article 8, yes.
Okay, number 8. This is, according to my records, Article 8, effluent disposal study, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $500,000 from the lawsuit settlement funds in the sewer enterprise fund for the purpose of completing NHDES administrative audit requirements, including the designing, permitting, and installing a full-scale pilot of the long-term solution to the effluent disposal problem, and to conduct sewer infiltration reduction improvements at the dockside parking lot. Such expenditure will not result in an increase in the tax rate. The default amount for this appropriation will be 0. If the approved appropriation is not approved, the default amount should be deemed to have been approved. I believe we had a presentation by Mr. Ford on this. Does anyone have any questions or anything? Okay, can I get a motion concerning this Article 8?
A motion to recommend.
And a second? Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll go by a voice vote. John Burt? Yes. Bob O'Brien?
Yes.
Bob Loftman?
Yes.
Bob Mulholland?
Yes.
Brian Black?
Yes.
And John McDonough votes yes.
John?
Yes, sir.
I vote yes, too.
Did I skip you? I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm used to it.
I apologize. Okay, so you have unanimous on that, 7? Okay. Next one is, I show it to be Article 9, which is the wastewater collection system asset management plan, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $30,000 for the purpose of developing an asset management program for the town's wastewater collection system. And that will qualify the town for federal and state funds, such sum to be raised by the issuance of serial bonds and notes not to exceed $30,000, under and in compliance with provisions of the Municipal Finance Act of RSA 33 as amended, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to issue and negotiate such bonds and notes to determine the rate of interest thereon and takes action as may be necessary to effect the issuance. Negotiation, sale, and delivery of such bonds and notes as shall be in the best interest of the town of Wolfeboro. Additionally, to authorize the Board of Selectmen to apply for and accept grants or other funds that may reduce the amount to be paid by $30,000 and participate in the State Revolving Fund, SRF, RSA 4614, established for purposes and to allow the Board of Selectmen to expend such monies to become available from the federal and state governments and pass any necessary voting relating thereto. Does anyone have any questions on this article, Article 9? Okay, can I get a motion concerning Article 9?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Another voice vote. Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
John Burt? Bob O'Brien?
Yes.
Bob Loftman?
Yep.
Bob Mulholland?
Yes.
Brian Black? And John McDonough votes yes. Okay, next one is Article 10, Center Street reconstruction, additional authorization. To see whether the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $543,033, $140,000 for road work, $350,000 for handling contaminated soil and groundwater, and $53,333 for contingencies for the increased cost of the reconstruction of Center Street from South Main Street to Wolfeboro Falls, the project. Said sum to be in addition to any federal, state, or private funds made available therefore. $2,100,000 was raised and appropriated for the project by warrant Article 5 of the 2013 town meeting. Total project cost now is $2,643,333. Of the increased cost, $543,333, New Hampshire DOT will fund 2/3 of the cost of the road work. NHDES reimburse the cost of handling contaminated soil and groundwater, $350,000, and $100,000 shall be raised by general taxation. Any discussion or questions on this article? Okay, can I have a motion concerning this article? And a second? Any further discussion? Seeing none, a voice vote on Article 10, Center Street reconstruction authorization. Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
John Burt? Bob O'Brien? Bob Loftman?
Yes.
Bob Mulholland?
Yes.
Brian Black?
Yes.
And John McDonough votes yes also. Okay, this is, I have it as Article 12, which is town road upgrades. To see whether the town to vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $750,000 for the purpose of upgrading town roads and drainage systems. Can I have a motion concerning this article, Article 12?
Motion to recommend.
And a second? Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll do a voice vote. Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
John Burt? Bob O'Brien? Bob Loftman?
Yes.
Bob Mulholland?
Yes.
Brian Black? And John McDonough votes yes. Okay, the next one is, I have it as Article 13. It's titled the Mass Landing Parking Lot Upgrades. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $170,000 for the purpose of constructing parking lot, pedestrian and stormwater treatment improvements for the Mass Landing parking lot. Can I have a motion concerning Article 13, Mass Landing parking lot?
Move to recommend.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is to approve Article 13, Mass Landing Parking Lot. Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
John Burt? Bob O'Brien? Yes. Bob Loftman?
Yes.
Bob Mulholland?
Yes.
Ryan Black? And John McDonald votes yes. Article 14, survey design engineering for reconstruction of the 390 line. To see whether the town will vote to raise an appropriate sum of $145,000 from the Electric Enterprise Fund for the purpose of performing survey and engineering design work in preparation for reconstruction of the 390 line, which feeds the town's electric power supply from Tufton Road to Wolfeboro. Such expenditures will not result in an increase in the tax rate or the electric rate. Okay, can I have a motion concerning Article 14? And a second? Okay. Any discussion? Okay, the motion is to approve Article 14, survey design engineering for reconstruction of 390 line. Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
John Burt? Bob O'Brien? Bob Loftman?
Yes.
Bob Mulholland?
Yes.
Ryan Black?
Yes.
And John McDonald votes yes. Article 15, dockside boat ramp upgrade. To see whether the town will vote to raise an appropriate sum of $90,000 for the purpose of reconstructing and improving the boat ramp at dockside parking lot. Can I get a motion concerning this one? Okay, and a second? Any discussion? Seeing none, Article 15, dockside boat ramp upgrade. Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
John Burt? Bob O'Brien?
Yes.
Bob Loftman?
Yes.
Bob Mulholland?
Yes.
Ryan Black? And John McDonald votes yes.
6-1.
Article 16, the Foss Field Replacement Building. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $299,320 for the purpose of constructing a Foss Field Replacement Building, including public restroom, storage, and pavilion. $100,000 shall be raised by general taxation, and $199,320 shall be transferred from the Foss Field Replacement Building Capital Reserve. Any motion concerning this article?
Motion to recommend.
And a second? Okay, any discussion on this article? John?
I agree with the fact that it's very, very needed down here. However, I'm concerned about in certain aspects. Number one, we don't have a real engineering design and estimate. Number two is who's going to do the supervision? I understand it's going to be David Ford's going to be looking over the shoulder of this one.
Yes, the Department of Public Works will be doing the general contracting of the project, the GCing.
Okay. Number three is that they have a project that started in 2013, the Parks and Rec, and it's not done yet. And the reason I get for that is because the Parks and Rec simply is too busy to do it, to finish the job. This is a cemetery.
Okay.
It seems to me that if David Ford can do this work on the building, he could help on laying out the roads in the cemetery. Is this correct? Or is there a serious, there seems to be a serious reluctance to finishing that cemetery?
There's no reluctance at all.
Okay, so Parks and Rec can get some help on that?
We're working to make that happen, yes.
Okay, thank you.
John, what was your main concern again?
Beg your
What
pardon?
was your main concern on this? What was your main concern on this article?
The fact that they don't have a very good estimate, they just have sketches in mind and on the papers. There hasn't been any real engineering done on it.
Actually,
Cost estimate.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, we do have a design for the project now, and Mr. Ford could address that if
Okay, this is something new then.
it's relatively new, yes.
We're flexible, we move quick around here. What happened was, after our last department head meeting, and with the move of Dave O'Brien being hired on as a code officer, he was assisting with Christine on the design. For reasons I won't get into, that fell apart. I jumped in. We have a Bergeron Technical Services, who we've done work with, has put together a design, we've reviewed it, now it's going for final design now. I have contractors pricing it, and we're confident we can get it done for this price, but the town forces will have to work together on this, so Public Works will be doing the excavation and site work. So within the next 2 weeks, we'll have all the numbers pulled together, but right now, it looks pretty good.
Okay, the work that your Public Works Department is going to be doing, and the excavation, all that, is that going to be cost against the project?
No.
No?
We've been doing projects for 10 years, and the overhead costs for Public Works has not ever been billed to the project. All materials, rentals of equipment, outside services, the plumbers, the carpenters, and materials we buy, that all goes against the job, but we don't charge our labor or the equipment. If we use our own, like a town truck, we don't rent the truck to the town. Doesn't make sense.
Thank you.
Mr. Ford, will you have plans by the deliberative session?
Yes.
So we can look at?
Yep. Yes. Well, we're preparing them now for our presentation, and like I said, they're being updated because we had a few changes. So we'll have a set of plans and a more breakdown and a cost estimate.
Do you have a general idea where it's going to be located on the property?
Yes. You know where the old building was?
Yeah.
In that general area, but hopefully we want to keep the pathway open that runs between the ball field and going out towards the soccer field, in the back there. And we want to have ADA accessibility for the bathrooms from both the parking lot and from the playground, where we feel the biggest areas will be. So it's going to run, and again, once we have the plans, I can explain it better. But
It's not going to be on the new lot that the town bought, is it going to be on
yes,
that?
no, it's going to be on the new
be
lot
on
we
that.
bought, yes. On the, we own 4 lots, and we got to determine whether or not we might have to do a boundary line adjustment, because they're going to be right where 4 lots come together. And a lot depends on the final wetland permitting, because we do have a small wetland that we're going to have to get permitted to do some impact on. Again, we don't think it's a big deal, so that's...
Do you honestly think that project's going to get done in 2017?
We've been looking at the schedule with all the commitments we have, and if this project gets approved, it'll start, because we don't want to get in the middle of summer activities, because there'll be the children there. So, and we have other projects lined up for the springtime between the 319 grants and the sidewalk projects and the road projects. So we see this one starting after Labor Day, and if we have all our subs lined up, it should be all buttoned up and completed by this time next year. That's our plan.
Any other questions? John?
Yeah, I understand with the old building, there was quite a lot of flooding when heavy rains. Has this been taken care of?
Yes, we'll definitely make sure. The building was poorly designed, had a bad drainage system. Part of the system the building will be raised, we'll have a good positive drainage, and there'll be no, that old building had a lot of problems. This will not have any of those problems, I can assure you.
Thank you.
And we also will make the puddle go away, so we have some money in our drainage accounts that was tied to the Center Street project. So some of the drainage problems in the parking lot will also be resolved at the same time with this.
Next fall.
By the fall of next year, if this project gets approved.
Are those bathrooms going to be year-round? You know?
The bathrooms, there'll be 3 unisex bathrooms. 2 of them are going to be designed so that they could be isolated, and they'll have, where the police can see them, lighted, but that'll be a decision for the selectmen to make, but they're being designed so 2 of them can be isolated and insulated, so they could be open for winter hours.
I guess I have one more question, Mr. Owen. Mr. Owen, if this building's built, what do you estimate the cost to be every year to keep it going and keep it running and clean and all that other stuff? Heated?
Well, the heat will be minimal, of course, because there would only be the bathrooms if they're kept open in the wintertime. So the heat would be minimal. I don't have the figures. I believe there were figures provided by the department head, but I don't have them at my fingertips.
Yeah, I don't recall. Does anyone recall?
I don't have my CIP book with me, but Christine did show us numbers on operation.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion on warrant Article 16, Foss Field Replacement Building? Okay, we have a motion to recommend the article. Voice vote. Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
John Burt?
Reluctant, yes.
Bob O'Brien? Yes. Bob Loftman?
Yes.
Bob Mulholland? Brian Black? And John McDonough votes yes.
7-0.
Yes, sir. Okay, Article 17, which is the Fire Trucks and Apparatus Replacement Capital Reserve Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $122,000 to be added to the existing Fire Trucks and Apparatus Replacement Capital Reserve Fund, to be under the custody of the trustee of the trust funds. The selectmen have been designated agents to expend this capital reserve account. Any motions concerning this article, Article 17?
Motion to recommend.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, I just got a quick question. Ms. Dolan, this is decreased from last year,
It is.
and that's due to a readjustment on the kind of vehicles that the department wants to buy?
It's a readjustment based on what they did with the utility replacement package this year,
Okay.
which was a less costly option or series of options.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none. The motion is to approve Article 17, which is Fire Trucks and Apparatus Replacement Capital Reserve Fund. Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
John Burt?
Yes.
Bob O'Brien? Bob Loftman?
Yes.
Bob Mulholland? Brian Black? And John McDonough votes yes. The next one I have is Article 18, which is entitled the Public Works Vehicles and Equipment Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $170,000 to be added to the existing Public Works Vehicle and Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, to be under the custody of the trustees of the trust fund. The Board of Selectmen has been designated as agents to expend the Capital Reserve Fund. Can I get a motion concerning this article?
So moved.
And a second? Okay. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, the motion is to recommend Public Works Vehicles and Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, which shows as Article 18. Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
John Burt?
Yes.
Bob O'Brien? Bob Loftman?
Yes.
Bob Mulholland?
Yes.
Brian Black? And John McDonough votes yes also. Next one is Article 19, Abenaki Ski Area Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $16,750 to be added to the Abenaki Ski Area Capital Reserve Fund under the custody of the trustees of the trust fund. The Board of Selectmen has been designated as agents to expend these funds. Can I get a motion concerning this article?
Move to recommend.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is to recommend Article 19, Abenaki Ski Area Capital Reserve Fund. Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
John Burt?
No.
Bob O'Brien?
Yes.
Bob Loftman?
Yes.
Bob Mulholland? Brian Black? And John McDonough votes yes also.
6 to 1.
Yes, sir. Article 20, which is entitled the Wastewater Treatment Plant Capital Reserve Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $125,000 to be added to the existing wastewater treatment plant capital reserve fund, to be under the custody of the trustees of the trust fund. The Board of Selectmen has been designated agents to expend the capital reserve fund. Can I get a motion concerning Article 20? And a
Second.
second? Okay. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, John.
What do we got in the capital reserve so far for this one?
We have 300,362.69 cents as of the end of November.
Thank you.
A little bit more at the end of December.
Any other discussion? Questions? Okay, there's a motion to recommend Article 20, which is the wastewater treatment plant capital reserve fund. Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
John Burt?
No.
Bob O'Brien? Yes. Bob Loftman? Yes. Bob Mulholland?
Yes.
Ryan Black? Yes. And John McDonald votes yes. Article 21, Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be added to the existing Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund established for the purpose of making needed repairs and performing needed maintenance to the town's building facilities. To be under the custody of the trustees of the trust fund, the Board of Selectmen have been designated as agents to expend this capital reserve fund. Can I get a motion concerning this article?
So moved.
And a second? Any discussion?
Yes. How much in this capital reserve so far?
We had one yearly payment on this, so it is $30,292 and 25 cents.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Dave, could you explain how this fund functions differently as opposed to an individual department's building maintenance line item in their budget?
Yes, this is intended to address capital repair needs that would be above and beyond the capabilities of individual departments' budgets to handle, such as, major roof repair or mechanical system failure, that kind of thing.
Any other questions? Seeing none, the motion is to recommend Article 21, Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund. Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
John Burt?
Abstain?
Okay. Bob O'Brien?
Yes.
Bob Loftman?
Yes.
Bob Mulholland?
Yes.
Ryan Black?
Yes.
And John McDonald votes yes also.
Was that 6 to
6 to 1, 6, and 1 abstain.
601?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, the next one I show is Article 22, which is entitled The Renovation of the Old Railroad Freight House Building. To see if the town will vote to establish a capital reserve fund in RSA 35:1 for the purpose of renovating the old freight house building at 61 Railroad Avenue, Wolfeboro Tax Map 217, Lot 46, to make said building and fire code compliant and handicap accessible, and to relocate the building to another location on the same parcel. If the selectmen determine the alternative location will facilitate the renovation of the building and better serve the needs of the town. Further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $95,000 to be placed in said capital reserve fund. The selectmen are designated as agents to expend this capital reserve fund. The renovation of the old freight house building and expenditure of the $95,000 shall be contingent upon the receipt of the town of the balance of funds currently estimated between $200,000 and $250,000 for a total project cost in the range of $300,000 to $350,000. Required to renovate the building for use as a public museum by private donations raised by the Lakes Region Model Railroad Museum, a New Hampshire nonprofit corporation. This warrant article shall be null and void if the warrant article for the lease of the freight house building to the museum fails to be approved by the voters, or if the private funds are not raised by December 31st, 2018. We have a gentleman that came to a previous meeting, and he's provided us with some additional information. Would you like, the board like to give him, or the committee like to give him an opportunity to explain some of these things to us?
Yes.
Okay, would you like to come up, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is John Sims, and I'm privileged to be able to present this warrant article and the two related ones to you. You asked us to provide some sketches and cost estimates a few days ago, and we have been working diligently to do that. We have two estimates, one from Norman Larson of Chris Williams, and he is here to answer specific questions on his estimate. The other one comes from Barry Boucher, who is a builder in town. These were done with extreme conservatism, and one comes out at $360,000, the other comes out at $369,000 with a contingency that brings it to $425,000. I have talked to Dave Ford, who is here, also willing to address this, and we feel that once we get our pencils out and we have the discussions over exactly what is needed, that the 350 number is pretty safe. Gave you a package of material that describes the project and has some photographs of the existing freight shed and some sketches and layouts of what we might do. Would you like to have questions of the architect who prepared one of these estimates?
Anyone have any questions for the architect, John?
I noticed quite a disparity between the two estimates in several items. One is electricity, plumbing, and the other is insulation. And the difference is about $23,000 there. No, that's my first question. Secondly is, are you expecting the Public Works Department to do some of the groundwork?
I think Mr. Ford should address that question, if you don't mind.
I've been working with John and the contractor, Aaron Sturgis, who's a contractor we worked with at the Libby Museum, and Chris Williams, architect Norman Lawson here. We're still really in the preliminary stages. I would like not to have to commit ourselves, but I think certainly we would be providing, we've done work in the area already with regards to drainage with the bean park. At some point, we will want to lay out a town road that'll go by through here. So the town road and the drainage work, I think, will be something that we'll be doing, and it won't be a big item. The big work will be actually doing the foundation, and we're already scheduled to remove the concrete foundation, which is there. The tanks have been moved, but those concrete haven't been moved. And one of the things we're looking at for a better layout and for a safer site plan is to slide the building, because right now we have a corner there. It's kind of a little bad sight distance, and so we do anticipate being involved in it, but we're not exactly sure how much. And again, I do anticipate us doing at least the water, sewer, and drainage work. And we're doing the demolition, so doing the foundation dig probably would be a logical for us to do also.
Thank you.
And again, I would just also say about the numbers, it is very early on in the game, but I did, again, this guy Aaron Sturgis, who was the one, if you remember the work we did at the Libby Museum in terms of tying the building together with the tie rods. You remember me explaining that a couple of years ago? These guys are specialists in old buildings, so he can give us a price to move the building and do all the historical repairs. We'll bring in other contractors to do the electrical and plumbing, and then we'll have specialists doing the removal. We do have asbestos in the roof shingles, and we have lead paint. All those things are being considered. That's all in these estimates. I think they're all conservative. So again, talking with John and Norman before the meeting, I think within the 2 weeks, the numbers we should get sharpened, and hopefully we'll come with a better and final number that will be within the limits we're talking about right now, the 350 cap.
Thank you.
Come and sit down.
You need to speak into the microphone.
This is Norman Larson, the architect for the Living Museum,
Yes, and
for Christopher Williams.
I think it was just stated very accurately that the design is in its preliminary stages, and my cost estimation is based on square footage and the intended use of the building. The contractor's estimate is based on his experience with possibly other types of construction and may not be as relevant to what's going on here.
Yes, John.
Yes, sir.
I just have one question. Mr. Sims, Mr. Larson's work up here is considerably higher than the ceiling that's listed in the warrant article
Correct.
with the contingency. And what I would like to know is, are you good with his number?
I'm good with this number at this stage. I think that there is room to bring it down significantly, but the range in the warrant article is an estimated range. We
Right.
are on the hook for whatever the cost is in excess of $95,000.
Oh.
So there's no risk to the town to these from these estimates. The risk is on the private funding.
Okay, I asked that because John McDonald asked you the other night, what if the price was $500,000, and you did say the other night that you didn't know. So that's why, and this number is not that far off from 500,000. So I just,
That's true.
you answered my question, and
Yes,
I'm comfortable
the risk
with
is
your
on the
answer.
private
Okay.
funders.
Okay, thank you.
I guess I've got a question, Mr. Owen. Mr. Owen, will they have to have all this money set aside before they churn grass or tear the building down or whatever they're going to do?
Yes, if you read the warrant article, that the town has to have the money in hand before the town will release any of the $95,000. So work won't be able to go ahead and be funded out of these monies until that contingency is met.
Okay, so we've got protection that if it, say something happens and it's going to cost $450,000 and they only have $390,000, we're not going to be ever put on the hook to complete the building so it's habitable or anything like that. If they walk away, there's some type of protection for the town.
Like the warrant article says, it's null and void if they don't come up with the balance of the funds.
Oh, okay, so if they show you plans that are going to cost $500,000, you're going to wait until they have the entire $500,000 to do the project?
That's correct.
Okay.
Conversely, if they make plans that have significant cuts to make it more affordable, will the town have a say in either moving forward or not, say?
Well, we'll be involved certainly, and once they do hand over the funds, it's going to be a town managed project. So we will have a lot of say about, you know, the scope of the project as it goes forward, yes.
I know I'm also uncomfortable with this. I'm awful.
And this will be a 10-year lease, or how long of a?
The warrant article for the lease is for 10 years.
And do you predict any added expense to any of the budgets in the town for this? Maintenance or anything like that, or?
We will probably structure the lease like we have for the lease with the chamber and the nursery school, where they pay for the water and sewer and heat, basic operating cost.
We would hope that you would take care, that the town would take care of the grounds and maintain the structure, since you own it.
That includes utility costs? The town
No.
pays the utility costs?
No, sir, no.
Okay, any further discussion concerning Article 22, the renovation of the old railroad freight house building? Seeing none, Bob Tuffer?
Did we ever make a motion on it?
Did we make a motion? Yeah. Maybe you seconded it, I believe. Yeah.
We did, okay.
Yeah, he seconded. Is that right, Leanne? Brian seconded?
Make a motion?
You did? Okay. I get a motion concerning Article 22, the renovation of the old railroad freight house building.
Motion to recommend.
And a second? Okay. Do we have any more discussion that we need to talk about? Seeing none, we'll do the vote of renovation of the old railroad freight house building. Bob Tuffer,
Yes.
John Burt,
Reluctant, yes.
Bob O'Brien,
Yes.
Bob Laughlin,
No.
Bob Mulholland. Brian Black.
Yes.
And John McDonough votes yes.
Is that 5-2?
5-2. Yep.
We don't have the other two with that.
No, we don't have anything to do with the relocation,
No, that's not a financial article.
nor the lease.
Again, those aren't,
So the next one I have is, I believe it's Article 25, the AFSCME contract agreement. To see if the town will vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Board of Selectmen and Local Number 534 of the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees, AFSCME, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing levels. Year 2017, wages an increase of $38,774. Benefits an increase of $14,926. Total for 2017 is $53,700. 2018, a wage increase of $38,521. Benefit increase of $16,290. Total 2018, $57,811. And further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $53,700 for the upcoming fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increases in wages and benefits over those of the appropriation of the current staffing levels paid in the prior year. Can I get a motion concerning this one? Second. Okay, any discussion? I just have a question. I'm trying to understand the non-union and union people that work for the town. If a union person gets a certain thing, whether it be a certain health insurance or whatever is included in this contract, do the non-union people get the same thing?
not automatically. The selectmen would have to authorize it.
Okay, does that have to, is there some way if the selectmen authorize it that if it's a change of financial thing, working conditions or some extra amount of money, is there some area where that money can be put into their budget to cover that, or is that something that you'll address, or?
Good question. Well, something could be done by the deliberative session.
Okay.
That's one answer.
Do you know if any of those issues will be done? Will anyone make any decisions whether they should get the same, I don't know what I'm looking, the word I use, not privileges, but guarantees that the union folks have for the non-union people? So they get, some kind of parity between the two?
I'll have to address those issues with the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. Okay. Okay, motion on this one? Recommend, I got it, okay.
You already did.
Well, you guys are fast. Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is to recommend Article 25, which is the AFS-CME contract agreement. Okay, all those in favor, Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
John Burt?
Yes.
Bob O'Brien? Bob Loftman? Yes. Bob Mulholland? Yes. Brian Black?
Yes.
And John McDonough votes yes. You do, sir? I'm sorry.
What was the vote?
He's a low man.
7-0.
7-0. Okay.
My apologies to Committee Member Lohman. Okay, Article 26, which is the police union contract agreement. To see if the town will vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the town and local number 39 of the New England Police Benevolent Association, the NEPBA, which calls for the following increases in wages and benefits at current staffing levels. 2017, wages, $30,813. Benefits, $8,637, for a total of 2017 of $39,450. 2018, wages, $29,913. Benefits, $8,453. Total for 2018 is $38,366. And further to raise and appropriate the sum of $39,450 for the upcoming fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in wages and benefits over those of the appropriation at current staffing levels paid in the prior fiscal year. Can I get a motion concerning Article 26, Police Union Contract?
So moved.
And a second? And discussion.
I'm assuming the police commission voted for this, but on our paper,
Yes, they did.
unanimous. I'm sorry.
Yes, it was unanimous. Although one of them was in Florida and voted by phone.
Just didn't note it. What was, excuse me, what was the vote?
Pardon?
What was the vote number-wise?
The police commission vote was unanimous, 3-0.
Thanks.
Okay, any other discussion?
John,
Yes, sir.
I'd have a little concern here on two of the ones that have been passed. This is the Foss Field job and the Clack job. Now this, in both cases, the numbers in the warrant articles is the total cost that the town of Wolfeboro will encumber. Does it include the cost of the work that the Public Works Department is going to do in total?
I'm a little lost. I thought we were on the police commission.
What?
I thought we were on the police,
We're on the union contract, John.
What?
Police union contract?
It's a warrant article.
Beg your pardon?
Did you want it, do you have,
No, I'm talking about
the ones before? Okay.
these two projects that the Public Works Department is going to be involved in. Is the total cost of the job including the work that the Public Works Department is going to be doing?
I thought Mr. Ford already answered your question in that regard, that the Department of Public Works does not charge off its time or its equipment to other town departments if it's involved in a project.
Well, so the total job or cost of the town of Wolfeboro may be exceeding what has been authorized in these warrant articles. Is that correct?
Well, no, not if you include the operating budget as one of your warrant articles.
I'm talking specifically about these two projects. The total cost of the town of Wolfeboro may be suffering. It does not include the cost of the work that the Public Works Department is doing. So the total cost that the town of Wolfeboro may be.
Well, John, you're asking about this railroad freight house project. The Public Works Department isn't involved in constructing that project. Like Mr. Ford said, they'll be doing the street improvements, they'll do the water and the sewer improvements. They have to do those anyway.
So the answer is that the total cost that the town of Wolfeboro will be experiencing may exceed the authorized limits of the job.
No.
What?
I'm not answering that question in the affirmative. In the case of the railroad freight house project, it'll be limited to the amount the total amount, including the amount that the private group has to raise. I thought we already answered these questions.
Well, see, my experience is this. Many years ago, I had to account for every single item that went into a project, no matter where the cost emanated from. So we don't do it that way here. We don't take the work that the Public Works Department is going to suffer into the cost of the job. Okay, that answers my question.
Okay?
It bothers me that we don't.
Well, I don't think that, I don't want to get sidetracked because we're in the union contract, but the way I understand it is they're going to do the building and we have to do this work anyhow to hook them up to the sewer and the water and all that other stuff.
We have to do it anyhow?
Yeah, to straighten out the corner and these other things. It's to make the building function or whatever. I don't think it's anything that we're doing free for them. It's something that's got to be done, anyhow to do the building.
Well,
But, I don't, that's just the way I understand. Is that a fair assumption?
Yes, it is. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
that's the way to get more work done than what's authorized.
Okay.
Yep, this is point of view.
Okay, just one more quick on the wet union, police union, fairly equal to the other contract with the other?
Yes, they're very equivalent.
Okay. As far as the raises and the percentages and things like that, okay. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, do a voice vote on the, to recommend Article 26, a police union contract agreement. Bob Tuffer?
Yes.
Yes?
John Burt, yes. Bob O'Brien?
Yes.
Bob Lohman?
Yes.
Bob Mulholland?
Yes.
Ryan Black? And John McDonald, yes. Okay, I believe that's all that we have for warrant articles. Is that fair to say,
I believe so.
Owen? Okay.
It's all the financial articles.
Okay. Okay, I think we have one set of minutes to do, and that's December 14th, 2016. Does anyone have any corrections or changes you'd like to have be made to the to those minutes? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes? Second? Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of December 14th, 2016, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. And may I get a motion to adjourn and close the public hearing?
So moved.
And a second? Any other discussion concerning anything? Okay.
A nice trip to Manchester in the snow.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, this hearing's closed. Thank you, everybody.